All right, 1.2, so this one is the evaluate and simplify algebraic expressions. So it's going to be a lot of stuff with exponents. Don't forget, your normal order of operations, things like that. By this point, I don't feel like we have to go over that again. But with exponents, that's kind of going to be the first thing, is evaluating the power. Big things are to pay attention to negative signs, if it's in the parentheses or outside of the parentheses, because that determines if the power is going to the negative or not. So starting with an easy one, if I have 2 to the 3rd power, what is that? 8. Let's see. Number 8, I have negative 5 squared. What would that one be?
25.
Negative 25. Okay, this would be negative 25 because this negative is not attached to the square. Let me rephrase. The squared is not attached to the negative. If instead I had negative 5 squared, that would be 25. So anything, if you have an even power with a negative inside, okay, it's always going to become positive. Okay, with odd powers, that's different. So something like number 10, you have negative 8 cubed. Okay, so what would this one be?
Negative 256. Negative 512.
Yep. So that would be negative 512. What if instead we did negative 8 cubed?
Positive 512.
So negative times negative is?
Okay, still negative 512.
Okay, negative times negative is positive, times another negative is negative. Okay, so this one is still going to be negative 512. And I point all this out because I've seen this mistake happen many, 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 many times. So then negative 3 squared. Positive 9. 14. Negative 2 to the 8th. Okay, and what is happening? It is positive because this is an even power, and it's inside the parentheses. All right. So the next one say, evaluate the expression for the given value of the variable. So this is just substitute the value in. So 18. 6h divided by 2 plus h for h equal to 4. So we're always going to replace first. So 6 times 4 divided by 2 plus 4. Okay, and I just put the parentheses around the ones that's being multiplied by something. If it was a negative, I would put the parentheses around all of them so that you don't get confused about if it's like minus a negative or whatever, at least initially when you plug it in. So what do I do first?
Multiply 6 and 4.
Okay, so 24 divided by 2 plus 4. Now what? So 12 plus 4, and then that's 16. Let's do one more of those ones. 22. n cubed minus 4n plus 10 for n equal to -3. So when you have the negative, it's really important that you put parentheses around it, because obviously with the cubed, it's not going to make as much of a difference, but if it was squared, it would make a difference if you put it inside or outside. So I always just like to do a habit of putting them in parentheses. So -3 cubed minus 4 times -3 plus 10. Okay, and like with the middle term, if you didn't put the parentheses, it would look like you had -4 minus 3. So that's another reason to have it. All right, so what am I doing first here?
Exponent.
Okay, so what is that?
-27.
Okay, -27. Now what? I'm going to try to save some steps.
Multiply.
So what is that?
12.
So plus 12 and then plus 10, and then you can do all that in one step. What's that? -5. I don't know where that problem came from, so I'll skip that. All right, next one, say to simplify the expression, so it's just to get it down to as few terms as possible, with combining like terms and stuff. So 26 y squared plus 2y plus 3y squared. So these ones aren't necessarily, some of them aren't going to require you to show as much work. This one you're kind of just going from what's given to an answer. So what would this be? Just yell it out.
4y squared plus 2y.
Yep. Okay, now the next one you would need to show me at least one step before you do it. You can't just like completely skip it. So 30, we have 10 times n squared plus n minus 6 times n squared minus 2. So what's my first step here?
Distribute.
Okay, so I would have 10n squared plus 10n minus 6n squared plus 12. And then what would my final answer be?
4n squared plus 10n plus 12.
I can't add. Wait.
I think you're looking at the original problem. Or you didn't multiply the 6 and the 2 is possibly what happened.
Oh, yeah.
So you just left that -2 all by itself.
Yeah.
Or it's long
Leaving it
now.
lonely.
Yeah.
It wants friends.
Alright, so the previous problems, we had one variable and it told you to replace like that with a number. The next one's same thing except for you're going to replace two variables. So it's going to give you like an x and a y. So 40, we have in parentheses 3x, and that whole thing is squared, minus y cubed when x equals 4 and y equals 5. So we start out with replacing, so 3 times 4, and all that is getting squared, minus, in parentheses, 5 cubed. Okay, so the minus on this one is not directly attached to the y. Okay, so when we replace the y with 5, I like to put it in parentheses, again, so it doesn't confuse me about the sign. Since it's a cubed one, it's not going to change anything, but if it had been squared and you didn't group it correctly, it could confuse you, so. So what does this give me?
So, yeah, 144. We'll just skip some steps. Minus 125.
Yes, I think so. Yes. And so then that gives you, what is that, 19?
I think so.
Getting to one that's a little bit harder. Not really, but a tiny bit. X plus 2y over 4x minus y when x equals -3 and y equals 4. Try this one on your own first, and then we'll go over it. Do we get an answer? What do we get?
Negative 5, 6.
Yep, so we had on top -3 plus 8 over -12 minus 4. So 5 over 16, and it's going to be negative. Awesome. Let's see, a couple more. These ones are just, again, combining like terms. So 46 p cubed plus 3q squared minus q plus 3p cubed. So what is that going to give us? Shell it out.
4p cubed plus 3q squared minus q.
Alright, last one. Number 50. 3 times x squared minus y plus 9 times x squared plus 2y. So what do I get here? Or what do I need to do first, I guess? So I get 3x squared minus 3y plus 9x squared plus 18y. And then what do I have then?
12x squared plus 15y.
Yep. Any questions about those? Alright, so we've about 30 minutes left to work on these ones. So you're going to do 5, 9, 13, 17, 21, 25, 29, 37, 49, and 51. 51 is more of a challenge problem that I want you to do, so it won't be exactly like what we did. It's kind of like you're writing your own problem, so I want you to try that one. I like to see what you come up with.